Okay, about 25%. That's cool. Some of you might be more reserved, but I feel the excitement on the inside of you right now. You're like, let me at it. Come on, baby. I'm feeling that weird motion from you right now. John chapter 2, verse 1. This is the start of Jesus' ministry, and I love that he started with a party. That is awesome. He started, so any of you who feel like that God's not into a good time, you have no idea what you're talking about. He literally started his ministry at a party, and this wasn't just any party. Back then, when they threw a wedding, because it takes so long to get somewhere, like you partied hard, like not hours, days. Like imagine that. Like you got to really like people to like hang out and party with them for days. Like they all get together. They're all going to have this huge wedding. So this is verse 1. The next day there's a wedding celebration in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there. And Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the celebration. The wine supply ran out during the festivities. So Jesus' mother told him they have no more wine. Dear woman, that's not our problem. Jesus replied, my time has not yet come. You never talk to your mom like that. I mean, I guess he's Jesus, so he just got away with it. But I like verse 5 because it's like his mom is like, I don't even care what you just said. He's like, hey, there's no problem. I'm not even supposed to be doing anything yet. And she's like, but his mother told the servants, do whatever he tells you. She's like, she didn't even hear him. I don't know if you've ever had that with your mom where you say something, Mom, don't do this, and it's like she never even hears you. She's repaying you for all the times when you were a kid that you never heard her. And so she's just like, I don't even listen to you anymore. So verse 6, standing nearby were 6 stone water jars used for Jewish ceremonial washing. Each could hold 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told the servants, fill the jars with water. When the jars had been filled, he said, now dip some out and take it to the master of ceremonies. So the servants followed his instructions. When the master of ceremonies tasted the water, that was now wine, not knowing where it had came from, even though the servants knew, he called the bridegroom over. A host always serves the best wine first. He said, then when everyone's had a lot to drink, you bring out the junk. But you have kept the best until now. So like it's not only did he turn the water into wine, he made it good wine. I mean, like Jesus cares about detail, just so you know. And it's like, if he's going to make wine, it's going to be perfect. And so verse 11, this miraculous sign at Cana in Galilee was the first time Jesus revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So I have 2 titles for this morning. Hopefully one of them will resonate with you. So tell somebody you're sitting next to, say this is the first one, say, I don't mind my own business. Tell them, I don't mind my own business. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's right. Watch out. I don't mind my own business. Okay, the second one is this one. You can tell the other person you're sitting next to, your second choice, you can tell them this. I'm nosy and I know it. Yeah. All right. So when I was reading this, I was wondering through, as I was reading through this, I was feeling this idea that there was a problem at this wedding, and this wasn't Mary's wedding. She was just invited to it. And the problem was they were running out of wine. Now, that might seem like a small problem to us. Just back then, just to give a little more context, this would have been like one of the worst things that could happen to somebody who's throwing a party at this time. It would be basically saying to everybody that you invited, we don't care about you. And so it would be this huge stain on socially for them. So that was an issue already. But even more than that, this is the first miracle that Jesus ever performed. This was so you could see, and you saw at the end, the disciples believed in him. And so there was belief attached to what Jesus was doing. So this was a big deal. And it all started with a problem. Now, this wasn't Mary's problem, but the Bible says that she was there. And this is what got me thinking about this idea that we are in the midst of, and we are in a world, and we live in a world that has problems. We live in a place that, right, there's problems. Okay, Lord, tell me where you live, because some of you are like, I don't know. You go on any website, any news affiliate, you can fill your life with the problems that are going on in our world. You work at a job that has problems, right? You work at a job where your boss might be one of the problems, or you might be one of the problems. You know, like we all have all these problems all the time that we're dealing with. And the issue that I started to see from Mary's perspective was this problem that was at the wedding was not hers, but yet she owned it like it was hers. And so I started thinking about this idea that we can experience some things in our life that might not be our doing, or we might be thrust into some places that have some problems and some issues that might not be our doing, but we might be the answer to that problem, or we might be the start of something good happening. Mary wasn't asked to attend to the wine. She wasn't supposed to be. I just think this is a really important piece that we all understand. I wrote this down. Just because it's not your business doesn't mean it shouldn't be your burden. So some of us step too far out of the brokenness of our world because for a number of different reasons, and I'll get to those in a second, but I was thinking about this even with our son. He's beautiful, he's cute, he's a cutie, but he doesn't always look cute. And he always doesn't do cute things. Like, he's really like and parents, you guys know this now that you got grown kids. He's a baby, but he's got like baby strength. And baby strength is like, it's at the worst opportune time, he like exerts all his strength to do something that he shouldn't do. Meaning, like when I'm changing his diaper, he uses all his strength to try to flip over and move. And so like I've got one elbow down like this. It looks like abuse, but I'm just trying to clean the kid. And like, you know, you start thinking like, this is crazy. Yeah, like even yesterday, he fills his diaper and I'm like, all right, I got you. Let's go up, clean it. It stinks, but whatever. And, you start cleaning it and he, lightning quick, grabs the diaper and throws it right at me. You're laughing, but I got poop on me. And and parents, you all know, like at that moment, nothing good comes out of you. Like I'm just trying to keep it together. I'm like, what? And then for some reason, after he has done that, then he stops. Like now he's like, now I'm ready for cleansing. And I'm just thinking, and then he's got other things that are he's starting to get his own attitude and all this. So Jess and I are like looking for like different parents and like how do they like looking at their teenagers and like how their teenagers act. Okay, so we like how their teenagers act, like they're not crazy yet. And so like, what did you do when they were young? And so we can start doing some of those things so we can learn about Watson. So we were hanging with these one friends and their kids were fighting, which made me just had a little bit of solidarity, like, hey, they're crazy too. And like all kids, like everybody's trying to hang on, which I would like to say to all you parents who have kids, you're doing a great job. Like that, just you haven't killed them. Good job. Number one, with raising a kid, keep them breathing. That's number one. Do good with that. And I think there's a little too much pressure and also a little too much of shaming that goes on with parents. Oh, you didn't do this, and I can't believe you gave them gluten. I mean, oh my gosh. We all know it's poison. I mean, okay, fine, whatever. Like I'm going to feed him the other weird thing. It's just all this stuff can go on for so much. And I just want to let you know, parents, you're doing a great job. You're doing good, and you should give yourselves a hand. Way to go. So anyway, we're watching these kids fight, and the parents step in, and one of them says this. I just love this language so much. She said, hey, stop, settle down, and they're like yelling, they're kid fighting. So it's not like terrible things, but they're like, one of them was like, you were so fat when you were a baby. Burn. And then the other one said, oh yeah, well you look like a truck. And I was like, yeah. So he steps in, he said, hey, let's stop fighting. And then he looked to the older one and he said, hey, I want to ask you a question now. Is that what a leader would do? And I was just like, this is great language. This is great language to introduce. Now, he answered saying yes, so he had to work through all of that. But what I loved was that underneath that was the importance of teaching responsibility to your kids. And if you're going to have responsibility, you have to have first a response. Like, what is your response to a problem? Because responsibility actually means your ability to have a response. So what is your response when a problem comes? Do you call people trucks, or is there something better than that? And what is your response when stuff breaks? Mary, what's your response when the wine runs out at the party you're hanging out at? What are you going to do? Is it everybody else's problem, or is it now your problem? Because I wonder if our world would change more if we had more of a burden for stuff. Because I think one of the reasons that a lot of us, especially people who follow Jesus, a lot of us aren't in the things that we need to be in and help the things that we need to help, is because we're too isolationist. Because isolation, that's a response that actually keeps you from keeps you from the things that you need to be. You start saying things like, I got my own problems. And so you pull away from every single thing because you think that the problems that you have are your own problems, and because you're going to take care of them yourself, then everybody else should take care of the problems they have on their own, and then the world would be fine. But I'm telling you, that might look like how the world acts, but that's not how the kingdom of God acts. We actually reach into situations that are not our own, that we didn't start, and that we aren't a fault at, and we actually help those things. We actually have a burden for things that aren't our business. We get into the middle of things that we maybe shouldn't have, or we haven't been asked to, because we want to help. I love what Mary did. She saw a problem and she stepped into it. And I'm so sorry that you have it's been raining too much and your lawn is so high and you haven't mowed it yet. But there's some real problems that are going on in our world, and if we can get our eyes off of ourselves and onto other people that are hurting, maybe the world would look a little more like heaven instead of hell, and maybe the world would be a little more livable than us getting into our shelters. I feel like sometimes church is just another fancy word for tornado shelter, and we just get in that thing and we let a tornado rip apart our world, and then at 10:30 when it comes back to 1, we open up the door and we walk out and we're like, oh, I'm so glad that I didn't get in that. Like what are we supposed to be doing? What is there a moment that you feel like this is broken and I need to fix it? Because isolation is killing your ability to have empathy. It's killing your ability to help. That's not my problem. I'm glad that Mary didn't get in there. Well, it's their fault. They invited too many people to the wedding. They definitely should have invited the Clarks. The Clarks are lushes. They drink all the wine. Look at them over there, just gulpity gulp, and no one's telling them that it's their fault. They shouldn't have done. It's not my party. I didn't do this. They should fix it on their own. They got themselves into this situation. They can get themselves out of this situation. I am so glad that Jesus didn't treat us like that. Because I got myself in this situation and there's no way I could get myself out of this situation. And Jesus reached into my dead life and brought me new life. And that's what we're meant to be. I am so glad that people have reached into your life and brought you into a place. But please do not make this about you where you just isolate yourself and you say, well, you don't know all the problems. I get it. We all have different things that we're going through. I'm sure Mary's life wasn't perfect. But that didn't, because it wasn't perfect, didn't mean that she couldn't feel somebody else's burden. And feel like, man, I just need to help. I just need to be a part. This is why it's so important to be involved in a community, because community helps you see things that you don't normally see.
Yeah.
Helps you have empathy. When I was single, I didn't care about marriage issues. I just wanted a dang date. I don't want to hear a sermon on marriage. That's your own fault. You got married, go fix it. Teach me how to be dateable. Please, God. Just one. I just need somebody to say yes. That's all I'm asking. When I got married, I don't want to hear no stinking sermon on kids. You all got pregnant. I didn't get you pregnant. You all got pregnant. So worry with your own kids. I don't want to hear about these kids. You're all talking about, oh, kids, and I can't go to bed anymore. They don't sleep, and they don't eat, and da-da-da-da. And what are you feeding them? I don't care. I don't care. Then I had a kid. I'm like, God, tell me everything. What do you do with a kid? What do you do? I don't know. He's kicking my butt. Are you kicking your butt? All of a sudden, you start caring. Because whatever you're in, you care about. So get your butt into a community so you care about a lot more things than just you. It's awesome that you got your group of people that are just single, or you just got your married people, but you need to have a good arrangement of different people and different seasons of life so you care more. It makes you a better human. And it also makes you somebody that God can use. When you walk into a wedding, all of a sudden something's broken and you're like, I can fix that because I care. Wow. I care. I care. That stinks what's going on right now. Jesus, they're out of wine. I don't care. Yes, you do. Tell those servants to fix it. I love that. Can we be a church like that? Can we walk into that? This is why it's so important to serve in kids. If you don't serve in kids and you feel like, oh man, I need to serve someone, serve in kids. Because you know why that helps? It helps you have empathy for those parents who, you know what, they got up early, they tried to get everything perfect, and their kid threw up over everything and then was fighting them at every turn to get to church. They finally come in at the last third song and they're like, God, please just take him. Just take him. For 15 minutes, just take him. Give me some dadgum peace in my life. I love him, but not right now. Take him and I will be back. And if you put my number on this and put somebody else's number on there, they can go get him. All of a sudden you have empathy now, because I'm just, I'm using single people as just a example, but you single people, you just got up. You literally just got to get up. You don't understand the gift that is. That you literally just got to get up out of bed. What the heck is that? I remember those times where I just, You don't get that anymore. We wake up with, immediately, every morning now, you wake up to a primeval scream that feels like somebody's dying. Not an alarm. But as a single person, now you have a little more empathy, because you're like, dear God. There's also a little bit of birth control. It kind of works in all of that for a little bit. And all of a sudden, we have a community that cares way more. I love that Mary did this. This is what changes your community. When you see a problem, and I literally just wanted to say, you see a problem and You want to solve it. And then I thought, that's ice, baby. Good theology. There are moments that God has brought you into your job where you're in problems that you didn't make, but he's asking you to fix them. There are moments that he's brought you into your family where there are problems that you didn't do, but he's asking you to be the solution. There are moments that he's brought you into a marriage where there is brokenness that you didn't contribute to, but you are the answer. There are moments that he's brought you into a church where there are things that are broken that you didn't contribute to, but you are the answer to that problem. Yeah. But if you live in isolation, I got my own problems. I would say no, false. You don't have your own problems. Your problems have you.
That's great.
And you are so concerned about you that you can't see the thing that needs to change. Also, not only can isolation be an issue, but awareness can be an issue. Can you believe that happened? I just want to let you know, awareness isn't solving the issue. It's a megaphone doesn't solve things.
Yeah.
Mary just running from person to person. Can you believe they ran out of wine? I can't believe they ran out of wine. I can kind of believe that they did it because they're kind of on the cheap and they kind of didn't bring enough wine for all the, because, they're cheap and they shouldn't have done that. Can you believe that they brought out wine? I can't believe they ran out of wine. They invited too many people. They wanted to have everybody there, but they couldn't afford to have wine for everybody. And so they had to go, I just can't believe this happened. I can't believe it. Awareness sometimes is just a fancy word for gossip.
Wow.
And it sounds awesome. Just bring in awareness. We're all aware. We know things are broken. Lord, it's all around us. We see it. So here's the thing. We got to be careful that we don't push ourselves in the awareness arena instead of the caring arena. Because there's a lot of people that are aware, but there's also a lot of those people don't care. They just want, they want to post about it, but they don't want to be about it. Like they want to talk about it. Oh, I can't believe that churches are like this and churches are like that and churches are that. Oh yeah, are you a part of a church? Well, no. You're just a church expert that never goes to church. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't believe that they do this and this and this. Oh, are you involved in that? Well, no, but I just think it's wrong. Just a lot of awareness, but not a lot of caring. And I'm wondering if we can just get in the middle of some of these things. If stuff starts changing and our world starts looking more like heaven than hell. And there's people that actually start putting the word Christian with helper instead of the word Christian with judger. And start putting the word Christian with servant instead of the word Christian with hypocrite. And the word Christian with a person that loves me instead of a person that hates me. I'm wondering if we can get in the middle of problems and the problems that we didn't actually start, but we're going to finish them because we're going to help in different arenas. I wonder what would happen with our churches. I wonder what would happen with the name of Jesus. I wonder if people would be more apt to come to our church because they're like, oh, you go to that church? That's awesome. That church did this and this and this, and that's great. And it wasn't your problem. It wasn't the thing that was your business, but it was your burden. Just a little more nosy, and I know it. I'm just going to get up in this a little bit. I love Mary. I love this. They're running out of wine. I know who can fix it. Jesus. It's just awesome. Now, when you read this story and you hear about it in church, a lot of times you hear, oh, Jesus turned water into wine. This was his first miracle. If you're in church for any amount of time, that's kind of what you hear. Jesus turned water into wine. This was his first miracle. Cool. Awesome. And I think too, like there's like it's not just a miracle, but it's one that had his disciples being like, wow, that is cool. Water into wine, saved kind of the whole wedding. That's awesome. You know, like, so Jesus is the focal point. He always will be. But there's somebody that, like, as this story unfolds, that I keep going back to that doesn't really get talked about a lot, and it is Mary. Jesus didn't get into this problem. Mary did. And he actually even said, not my time yet. And she pulled the mom card and said, I don't care what you say. Do it. I want you to see this because this is really, I believe, one of the most important things if we want to have a culture where miracles happen. And when I say miracles, I'm not talking about like go out to the fountain and hit it and wine comes out. Like, I'm not talking about that. Some of you are like, what? That is awesome. Yeah, not this church. There are miracles that we're talking about, like what we just got to see with Marty. That's a miracle. That's a changed life. I could go down the line of miracles that are sitting in this room right now. Change lives. And we want to see more and more and more of that. So how do you do that? How do you see more and more of those miracles in your life and other people's lives? I think it boils down to what happened when Mary, she brought a bunch of servants and said, do whatever he says. So what does that mean? A bunch of people that had no names that just did what Jesus said. Can we be a church that's not about our name, but just will do what Jesus asks us? Like, we don't need spotlight. We just want to help serve. Because here's the thing. We know that Jesus did this miracle, but nobody is talking about this and saying the wedding at Cana and saying this is Mary's time to shine. Nobody is saying that. No one keeps talking later in life about how Mary did this and Mary did that. You know what? She was kind of the forgotten part of this story. And I want to draw attention to that because I think sometimes when we start talking about getting in the middle of stuff, sometimes we want to get our name all around it. But I'm saying that I think there's a miracle that happens when somebody can come and not have their name attached to something and just pick up a broom or a shovel or whatever, and I'm just going to be a part and let me help. In fact, I'm just going to give this to Jesus. Now that I have done my part, I'm going to give this to Jesus, and he's going to do what only he can do. I've done what I can do, and I'm going to stand away from this now because I don't need my name on it. And I think that's the problem. A lot of times we want a name associated with it, like tagged on Instagram, like this is what I did. Have you seen this picture yet? It looks so good. And then all of a sudden we feel like this is what we're trying to do. I'm telling you, God moves when there's a bunch of no-name people that just say, I don't gotta have my name in it. I'm gonna stick my nose in it, but I don't have to have my name on it. I'm gonna stick my nose in this problem, but I don't need to be known for it. I don't need to have somebody giving me 50,000 different likes for the thing that I did. I just want to be a part of this. This humility is that's the culture of miracles. Where you can just be about it and say, okay, Jesus, do your thing. And miracles start happening. Yeah, but I don't want to feel like I'm getting taken advantage of. When you decide to serve, no one can ever take advantage of you. When you decide to serve, no one takes advantage of you because you've decided to serve. It's your decision. Then all of a sudden, as we start doing this, we're going to see miracles start happening. And maybe right now you need a miracle. Maybe you feel like you're on the outside looking in a little bit. Your life feels a little misshapen, and you feel like there's stuff coming at you. There's some brokenness still in your life. You feel like you don't have a way forward. You don't feel like you have direction in your life. Maybe you feel like you have some stuff in your life that just feels too big for you to conquer. Maybe you have questions with your kids. Maybe you have issues in a relationship that you're in right now. Maybe you feel like you're literally just trying to keep your head above water. And I want to let you know that just like Mary saw an issue, I personally believe that that's a picture of the Spirit of God, that He sees issues as you're dealing with them. And there's not one issue that He doesn't see. And that you came to the right place this morning. That you're in the right space this morning. That maybe some of you feel like God has given you a burden and you've been pushing it away, but now this morning you feel like I gotta change. I gotta get my nose in it. God has put me in this place. I gotta step into it. Maybe some of you felt like you've just got the weight of the world on your shoulders. I want to let you know that God has grace for you, and He has peace for you, and He has stuff that you cannot do on your own that He wants to give you. Some of you have been running so far from God. You're so far from Him. You're stonewalling Him at every turn. I just want to let you know He's not mad at you still. He loves you. He's got grace for you. He's looking right at you and just said, whenever you turn, I'll be here. This is this moment for you. Some of you have major life decisions that you're trying to make, and you're trying to do it on your own. And I want to let you know that God does not want you to live your life apart from Him. Ask Him. And I believe that as a community, if we just open up our hearts to the Lord, like authentic, like God, just change me where you want to change me. Open up my heart to see burdens again. Open up my life to accept your help again. Open up my life to not have to have my name on it, to care. God, those are the things that change.